What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lore Chronicles. Attack of the Vine is right around the corner, and I want to make sure that you have all of the super fun and rogue deck lists to play for your first week at locals, or maybe a tournament if you're going to one. And who better than to help me out with some rogue deck lists than Master Deck Builder himself, RMB. Welcome to the channel. Let's look at your little player profile here. Pro player, master deck builder, bald number one, the first bald of Lorcana. Talk to the people.
I might be the first.
I think you are the first bald. Gabe
I think I'm probably the first one that like made it my entire personality was being bald. But now we got Fungus. Fungus is like a very strong
bald, yeah.
in the bald community. You got Hector Harris is another one
Yes.
that's embraced the bald as well. So we
South
got
Florida
Gabe.
bald.
Like shout out my boy Gabe. Shout out Skinner. We've got tons and tons of like. Actually, now that I think about it, the majority of the balds are actually in the southeast regions. Like best region.
You need to have a little meetup.
Southeast?
Lorcana balds need to have a meetup. But yeah, Gabe says like Liam is the first family of Lorcana, so I'm gonna coin that you're the first bald of Lorcana. But no, I'm sure everybody knows who you are. But if not, I mean, Goldie and Mickey winner, right? Generational run, DLC Atlanta, player for Team Maelstrom. We all know and love them. You guys do a lot for the community, honestly. So I'm super excited to have you on. And specifically, you and Humble also do a lot for the community with the Lab Rat series. I saw some teasers for that, so hopefully it'll be making a comeback soon. You are an official creator on Dreamborn as well, which I think was super cool. I was looking through it, and yeah, I've got your socials on there. We'll put some more links in the description, whatever you want to give us. Before we get started, talk to the people about deck building, because like you said, you're a Dreamboard creator. Like, I feel like you're such a good balance between innovative deck lists and also just being a really strong player for the metagame. What is that? I don't know. What is that like? I know you put in a lot of reps.
Yeah, so here's the thing, like, so number one, my favorite thing about TCGs is creative deck building. That's the part that I enjoy the most. It isn't competing. It isn't, like having the perfect deck list for the perfect event. My favorite part about TCGs is the deck building process. I like reviewing all the cards that are both available in the current format, run them against the cards that are coming in the new format or new sets that are releasing. And I just like testing stuff. Like, I'm the guy that's going to test weird, wonky, wacky things to see, like, okay, like this thing that most people didn't really give a second look and give a second chance. What if it's secretly broken? What if it's really overpowered? Like, I will put in the reps to figure that out. Currently I've done a lot of testing for this post rotation for Attack of the Vine. I'd say I'm probably about 400 games in.
Nice.
I make a lot of different types of decks. Like, I make decks that if I need to go to an event and I need to win the event and get exactly first place, I have deck lists for that, right? I have like the hyper consistent, very like competitive, but I also have like I played a lot of locals, and my locals aren't hyper competitive, so I like to build a lot of like franchise decks, or I'll try to like pinpoint a very specific niche combo thing that I want to do, and I'll build a deck around doing that, and I'll bring it to my locals. It might not be the most competitive, but it's how I have fun playing the game. And like, I'm not going to show up to my 10-person locals with dogs and just like curb stomp everyone and be like, yeah, I win this pin and all the promos. That's not fun for anyone involved. That's not fun for me. It's not fun for my locals. So I like to think that while I am a competitive player first, I do have a more casual side, and I just genuinely I like building fun stuff. I like building things that are going to provoke a certain type of reaction from people that when you play it.
Yeah, which is super awesome, and I think you make a great point, and that's why I think there's so many amazing resources. Maelstrom is one of the places to find amazing day one deck lists, that are competitive. Podcana also has Maelstrom Sky on it, right? So I think what I try to do here, rather than like, I let those guys are the pros. You guys are so smart. You're the meta makers and innovators. I think on this channel, I like to do what you talked about and make decks for people that are like, you know what? Let's take this to locals and let's have some fun because it's week one, right? And so I'm super excited. I'm super grateful that you're here. Like I said, check him out. Links, they're all going to be in the description. Before we get to your decks, because you've made most of the decks that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about two decks that you didn't make, okay? And the first one here is, when I think of a rogue list, I think of Ruby and Emerald Christmas, baby. Okay, and I think this is from Taris, right? Another deck builder such as yourself that is competitive but also likes to explore different things. Okay, I asked him if I could include this in the video. He did say yes, and I asked him to write a little blurb about it, and this is what he had to say. Okay, he said, for the goal of this deck, you want to dig through your whole deck, gain some card advantage, and do that through value trades, he said. Also combo things like baby head and medallion weights. Okay, so that's some other challenging ways to draw cards. And then he said eventually you'll just be able to swarm the board or wipe with the Prince Philip. So it's no longer like a combo because we don't have like the kind of shifts thing, but we do have the malicious, mean, and scary in here, and then we do have the Prince Philip. So this is what we're looking at, right? We got 60 cards, 7 uninkables, 8 songs, 6 items. Okay, we have a lot of cards that let you draw and discard, which, like you said, is going to proc some things like Milo, even Lyle to kind of do some lore drain. So we have a little bit of control there. Talk to me about this color combo. Do you think it's time and the sun is here in Attack of the Vine, or do you think it's still got to cook a little bit?
I think it might need a little bit more cooking, but there's definitely some aspects to this deck that I really, really do like. I do actually see that there's quite a bit of draw engine capability in the deck. The Baby Head seemed like one of those like relatively innocuous 4 drops that you don't see very often.
Sure.
But when you see your opponent go like really wide with like a bunch of these like 1 and 2 drops, and it's like, oh well, you're not really like doing anything. Like I guess I'll just like quest all my guys, and they're like, oh, I'll play this Baby Head, and now I'm drawing like 4 or 5 cards on my turn because I'm just running my guys into your guys, and I get to just develop a massive, massive hand. Medallion Weights is also another one that I think more people should play with. Medallion Weights has proven to be really, really strong, especially when it's combined with Amber. It seems like a lot of the Amber removal right now is strength-based removal, and Medallion Weights is one of those few cards that actually says, hey, I'm just going to give this guy +2 and not Challenger 2. So that combos with cards like the Gaston and the World's Greatest Criminal Minds. I will say there's a really big jump. You've got up to 4 drops in this deck, and then the next thing you got is a 7 drop, and the next thing you got is a 9 drop.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the things that I would consider maybe a possible path forward for a deck like this is to kind of take a odd characters only approach.
Sure.
With the exception of Liquidator, because obviously Liquidator is just crazy good, right? Like, just like one of the best underdogs, probably alongside Angel. So you take an odd characters only approach to the deck list, but RMB, why would you take an odd characters only approach to the deck list? Because you can play a card called Retro Evolution Device. It's a 3-cost. It's a 3-cost item that says you can pay 1 and exert it. You could banish one of your characters, and you can play a character from your hand costing up to 2 more for free. So the one thing, like, I understand he wants to draw cards, continue to ink to try to get up to the Prince Philip. But what if you had the ability to turn your 1-drop into a 3-drop, and then your 3-drop into a 5-drop, and then your 5-drop into a Milo to buy you time, and then your opponent can't answer the Milo because it's warded, and then on the following turn, your Milo gets to sing the Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and for 1 ink, you get to banish the Milo and put the Prince Philip into play. Like, if you're going to run big cards like Milo Thatch and Prince Philip, you should try to find unique and interactive ways to cheat them out a lot earlier than you should. Okay. We lost all of our ramp on 2, but that doesn't mean that we can't still cheat out, some of these really big characters. And I think Retro Evolution Device is a card that I would love to see in a list like this.
Wow, super cool. I think it's so awesome just to watch your brain work in real time, by the way. So I will do it in post, but those cards will be flashing on the screen. And I think you bring up a great point. Like, this is something that Taris has started with, but the whole point of week 1 deck list is I'm going to say none of these decks are finished, right? And all of them have a path forward. And so I think identifying that and giving people, like, that's the core of like the rogue idea, is like finding things like that and hey, take it to locals, see if it's fun, and if it keeps winning, then maybe we take it to a big event. So I love that. Let's move on from red green to one more deck that you did not build, but again, when I think rogue, this is a staple color pairing. We have Ruby and Steel, okay, and this was made by Snake Chips. If you're not familiar with him, he's a
very familiar.
Yeah, right. A lot of people
love Snake Chips.
Love
Snake Chips is Ruby Steel stand
Oh
that
yeah.
exists out there. He is him and who is it? Reginald McGuffin. Those two are they're
Yes.
just like they're both very, very, very big Ruby Steel guys.
Yes, they are determined to make it work. And I think last set, like towards the end, he started to see some success there with the Ruby Steel locations that was really, really close. I think even Sky, your teammate, was playing it for a little bit there. So this is Snake Chips deck. Now he did want me to say I have his like thoughts on the deck, but I also have, he said that he has taken a little bit of a break because he was going all in on the locations, and he said that he will like fully refine and tune Ruby Steel soon. But this was just his initial idea. So again, there is definitely a path forward. Feel free to make some suggestions. But he did say the idea of this deck is you have all of your actions that are meant to be multiple different ways of removal. You shift dash and shift violet slash dash, right? The team up there, and then those are your main forms of card draw. And then he said an ideal combo, for example, is turn 6 violet dash, turn 7 play Mrs. Incredible, sing One Last Hope with one of your other characters onto that violet and dash shift that you just did, and then it is a potential board wipe with resist 4 attacking ready characters, all while drawing cards. Okay, so I get it, that's a lot of words, I'm trying to follow it too, okay, but that's kind of his initial thoughts on the deck. Like he said, this is definitely not finished, but we've got 11 uninkables, 9 songs, 4 actions. Talk to me about this deck. What do you think of this on first glance?
So first of all, I absolutely love I love this deck. I love this deck for a lot of different reasons. And like some of these reasons might not be very like on the glass reasons why you would think that this deck is sick. So first and foremost, there's a couple things to note. Number one, with the changes, the CRD updates to the way that damage works, Mulan, the triple shot Mulan is as good as it has. It's better. It's far better than it's ever been, because now the difference between what a character deals in damage versus what a character takes doesn't have to equal the same amount. So
Yes.
Mulan is always going to be hitting. If you shifted her, she's always going to be hitting for 5. She's going to be dealing 5 to 2 other things. The triple shot's not going to be reduced anymore. And so here's the thing about Mulan is that you get to play, in my opinion, the best shift line in the game for it, and that's the new Steel Mulan. So both of these cards are tech cards, which I absolutely love. So you have a Floodborn Mulan that when you play it, and whenever you play a Floodborn, it banishes an item. So obviously you can think of some really great items that exist in the format that you really want to answer. I'm looking at you, Webby's Diary. So she's going to be absolutely phenomenal against the Ruby Amber decks, you know, this hyper control deck that's trying to play a bunch of boosties and draw a bunch of cards. And then you've also got the Mulan, which is going to be kind of a tech card against the more aggressive decks that are the more go wide strategies when you want to be able to answer 3 things at a time. So the fact that both of these pieces are inkable tech choices and work together, I think is a really unique way to put cards that you would normally put in like a side deck in your main deck. And the fact that they're both inkable, big plus. Violet. So I do want to talk about the 2-drop and the 5-drop Violet, because these 2 cards are 2 in my top 10 favorite cards from Attack of the Vine.
Wow.
I think, yeah, they're like, so I think the 5-drop Violet is probably in my top 5 best cards of the set. This card is absolutely bonkers. It is so good, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, the 2-drop is a 3/2 with resist 1, and it's inkable. So it's like a Calhoun that doesn't gain you the 2 lore, but it's inkable.
Yeah.
I'll take that trade any day of the week.
Yep.
Your Eleanor pings are no good here, and I love that. And then the shift line is a 4/4 with resist 1. When you play her or any other hero, you get to draw a card and discard a card.
Yeah.
Now, a 4/4 with resist 1, all of the best removal in the game, this thing gets around.
Yeah.
She doesn't get immediately banished by a Hero's Thunderbolt because she's got the resist 1. You can't point and click a Gaston at her.
Yep.
You can't World's Greatest Criminal Mind her.
Yep.
Like, she's really slippery. Like, you don't get to just answer this card. And one of my favorite things, you're probably going to see this in one of my deck lists, is Mrs. Incredible with One Last Hope. This is a build your own board wipe. Like, I absolutely love this combination of cards so much, it's not even funny. And you'll see why in one of my deck lists. But yeah, I mean, the ability to challenge readied characters, have resist 3, and then ready herself. I definitely was a big advocate for the Pyros Arthur combos
Yeah.
in rotations past. So this deck is definitely doing like a lot of things that I really, really like. You got the Scrooge, which is arguably one of the best 2-drops in the game. You got Eliza Maza. So if your opponent's trying to get all these Jesse triggers and then under the CU, well, be a shame if you couldn't reduce the strength of any of my characters. And yeah, sometimes the dash par combo with um Violet is just gonna be like, yeah, like I just like built this like draw for every single turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think this deck is super fun. I think that it definitely has legs. If the Amber, Emerald, Eleanor, Willow style decks are going to be really, really popular,
Sure.
then shift lines like the Mulan triple shot are going to be like some of the best cards in the format.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Snake Chips can do. I think if there's anyone that can make Ruby Steel work, it's going to be him. So really cool deck. Now let's get into some of your decks. And you mentioned Amber and Emerald decks, okay? And most people would say these are rogue decks, but we do have this one here from you. And I said this counts as a rogue deck because it's a really fun build, and you have some synergies with like the characters, right? We have a lot of Lilo and Stitch stuff, but also it's just a lot different than some of these variants that we're seeing out there. So talk to us about your idea behind this build. We're sitting at 18 Uninkables, and it is an all character deck. So talk to us about this.
All right, so this deck is so much fun. So it's a Stitch Storm deck. The idea of the deck is to effectively cheat the cost on shifting a Stitch early and be able to just churn through your deck. I mean, you're gonna play, typically you can shift the Stitch on turn 3, turn 4, which is like kind of insane. And then on the following turn, you can play anywhere between 4 to 8 characters and draw 4 to 8 cards and just go super, super wide. You go wide to the point where you overwhelm your opponent. And the Stitch having 5 willpower doesn't really get answered very easily. And you can't World's Greatest Criminal Mind it. The one thing that it is susceptible to is the red alert. But in the event that the Stitch goes unchecked, I mean, this deck will draw and play more characters than any other deck in the game. Like,
for sure.
it just does. So like when you have a Lilo in play, the Pudges become free.
Yeah.
So you get to play the Pudge for free. Doesn't cost you anything. You get to exert it, draw a card off of the Stitch. There's some cool little techie things that you can do where you can play Bobby Zimmerowski. You can trigger the Stitch first to draw a card, then you trigger the Bobby Zimmerowski, and then you discard a card, and you're discarding a card with more information. Like, oh, well, I don't need, this other big 4-drop because I can't play it right now. I only have 2 ink. Let me keep, this 1-drop and this other 1-drop so that I can keep the chain going.
Yeah.
And then other cards like Mike Wazowski. So I'm just going to say it. Mike Wazowski is also in top 5 best cards of the set for me as well. We're never missing, but our opponent might be missing on these Mike Wazowski triggers. You might play a Mike Wazowski and you might put an Eleanor in your hand, and your opponent might put a Raging Storm to the bottom of your deck. And when that happens, it feels fantastic.
Yeah.
But Mike is friends on the other side when you have a Stitch in play. You get to play him, trigger him, draw a card, turn him sideways with the Stitch ability, and draw another card.
Yeah.
So this deck just gets to draw an egregious amount of cards, go far wider than any opponent could ever possibly deal with. Obviously, it is susceptible to removal. Like, when your opponent knows what you're doing, the jig is kind of up. If you're playing against a steel-based deck, they start answering your shift lines. It does make it a little bit more difficult, but sometimes you're just going to go with the aggro, yellow-green plan where you're going to have 4 characters in play on turn 2, and your opponent's going to be like, yeah, this was fun. This is great. 10 out of 10. Had a blast.
No, I think it's a super cool list. I think these like Stitch lists are so fun, making use of the Rockstar ability like in all the ways that you've pointed out. And I think the hope, right, is naturally, I think Steel is a natural weakness to any sort of like aggro deck. So that's not anything new for this deck to be weak to something like Steel. But maybe the hope is, like you said, you just have so many characters that they can't really answer them enough, right? You don't have enough removal for all of the characters that you can potentially cheat out if they miss some of those optimal opening lines.
There's one other really, really cool interaction with this deck, very similar to like the Bobby Zimmerowski and the Mike Wazowski, and that's with the 2-drop Pocahontas.
Mm.
So this one's one of my favorites. You can, if you have a Stitch in play, you can play the 2-drop Pocahontas. You can choose to trigger your Stitch before you trigger the Pocahontas. Turn it sideways, draw a card. If you draw a 1-drop and you didn't have a 1-drop before, you can now trigger the Pocahontas to play the 1-drop for free, which is
Oh.
there's some really cool little things that you can do with this deck to keep the chain going.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the people who watch this channel do enjoy some aggro style decks, just as like a nice kind of like introduction to. Sometimes the combos get a little too crazy, a little too convoluted. I think combos like that Revolver on Stitch Rockstar are accessible to anybody and super fun to pull off. So if you're interested, I mean, let it rip. Do the Stitch Storm. But one more aggro deck here that you built that I'm excited to talk about is this Yerble, as people are talking about. This Amethyst and Amber. Okay, typically lately in core, Amethyst and Amber has been a bit more of a control build. Played a little bit more like Blurple in days of old. We're not doing any of that here. Okay, this looks to me on its face like a super aggressive, very fast kind of deck. And talk to me about some of the Pocahontas painted with all the colors of the wind synergies that we got here. 12 uninkables, 4 actions, 4 items. What are we doing here?
So this deck is sick. This deck is so much. So I want to caveat and preface with, in a format where Eleanor's like the best card, this might not be like the most competitive deck, but like you're going to be an absolute menace to some people that are just going to have absolutely no idea what hit them. The big thing was that, so let me scale this back. Let's go back to when RMB had a full head of hair at 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
And his mother took him to the movie theaters to see Pocahontas when it came out in theaters, because yes, I'm that old. And my mother was beat red in her face as her 7-year-old son stood up in the middle of the AMC theaters screaming at the top of his lungs, "Did you ever hear the wolf cry to the blue corn?" Like I'm over here like just full on like belting in the middle of a movie theater to Pocahontas. So like I'm super happy that Pocahontas is in the game.
Yeah.
So of course like I have to play with some of the cards.
Sure.
And the card that I was the whole reason why I wanted to build this deck was the new Pocahontas and Miko team up.
Yeah.
So like when Miko came out, I was like, man, this card seems like really, really good. So I immediately tried to build aggressive strategies with it. I played it with the Amethyst Chromacon, just try to like, I played it with Show Me More, try to like do things to like keep the card economy in my hand high while still having to discard to it. And like here now we have not only a shift line for it, but a card that directly synergizes with this Miko, where you get to be aggressive, you get to quest for 2 with this 1/1 evasive that cost 1, but you also get to trigger your Pocahontas Miko team up to bounce it back to your hand and replay it so that it stands back up and you don't have to discard the card.
Yeah.
Like that was the primary engine for this deck and the primary reason why I wanted to build this deck.
Yeah.
But you do see some additional aggressive options. This deck, much like the Amber Emerald deck, can also play up to 4 characters on turn 2.
Nice.
Shout out Grandmother Willow. You're a crazy card and probably should have never been printed. But a lot of your lore burst is actually going to come from the 2-drop Pocahontas and the 3-drop Genie. This is where like the bulk of your, like when you want to go from like 9 to 22 in one turn, like that's the 2-card combo that's really going to kind of pop off. You play the Genie, a couple of turns of just, jamming a card underneath it without turning it sideways. You play a couple of Pocahontases. Okay, now my, Genie's questing for 4. My Pocahontases are questing for 5. It's just like it's a very fast deck. Like the deck can just win by turn 5. And it also like draws a bunch of cards because again we're Amethyst, so we've got Dolores, we've got the Besties Assemble to like go and find our shift lines. You got the Junior Woodchucks guidebook. I love this deck. I think it's super fun. Again, keep in mind if Eleanor, your Miko's not living if Eleanor's out there. Yeah. And then the other really cool thing, being able to turn the Genie sideways after it's got a couple of cards underneath it, and then you you send Olaf on a challenge, and you bounce the genie back to your hand along with all the cards underneath it. Is
Oh,
kind of like a build your own a whole new world, and I
so
love that.
fun. Yeah. Oh, like the boosting and then bringing it back to hand synergies lately have been so awesome. But no, I think this is like, again, like this is one of the things that I look at this and I'm like, this is what a rogue deck is all about. Taking your favorite franchise, hearing a story like that, like knowing how much you love Pocahontas, and then being able to build something where you have her coming up time and time again, something like Miko as well. Super cool to see. And I think a lot of people have a lot of fun with this deck because it's not just go fast. You get to do some fun things that feel like a nice payoff. So all right, let's move on to something that I would say you're known for, or at least used to be. Okay, we've got Sapphire Steel. All right, you are the creator of the coveted Ducktectives. I think that name is brilliant. I'll never forget it. I thought it was so smart. And we're back a little bit. Yeah, right? We're back a little bit. Okay, we got some Darkwing Duck in there, so I say it counts. Seeing things like the Nick Wild and the Judy. Is it finally time? Do cult members rise up? Is Sapphire Steel the answer for Attack of the Vine?
This deck is sick. Like, let me just preface by saying, like, this deck is awesome. So you have like some of the best removal in the game in Strength of a Raging Fire. Let it go. I think for me, the piece of removal that I love is the Terror that flaps in the night.
Yeah.
So like a 2-cost deal 3. Like we've had Smash before in the past.
Yep.
And like 3 felt like a really high opportunity cost to deal 3 damage, but paying 2 is fantastic. And we've got 12 ways that it triggers the ability for Flap to deal that much. But I mean, it looks very similar to what it looked like previously. We did trade out. So I want to coin a couple of terms here for some of the Ducktectives, all right? So the 7-cost Steel Darkwing shall now and henceforth be referred to as Steelwing.
Okay.
The team-up Darkwing Duck and Launchpad that we see in Attack of the Vine and featured in this deck list shall henceforth be known as Wardwing. So we have Steelwing and Wardwing.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to discern between the two. And this was a massive upgrade for the deck, was getting just a better Darkwing, in my opinion. My initial, you see that this is Detectives 2.0. My 1.0 had both of them in it, but of course, you know, Ruby, Amber, Control is playing a whole lot of things that don't like it when all of your characters are really big. So yeah, unfortunately the Steelwing has retired and make way for Wardwing, which is arguably one of my favorite cards of the new set.
Yeah.
It's got, in my opinion, the best enchanted of the set. You know, obviously, like I'm a little bit biased, but it's got one of the best enchanteds of the set. It's just a super powerful card. 5/7 ward, quest for 2. When it challenges and banishes a character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. You've got several different card draw engines. You've got the 4-drop Judy Hops. You've got the Nick Wild. You've got card advantage. Like this is definitely a deck that wants to be challenging your opponent's characters. You've also got the One Last Hope, Mrs. Incredible combo here. Here we're doing it a little bit differently. We want to establish our Wardwing, right? Then we want to play our Mrs. Incredible. And then we want our Detective Mickey that ramped us on turn 3 to sing our One Last Hope, targeting our Wardwing. So now Wardwing has resist 3, can challenge readied characters. You gain 2 lore when it banishes a character in a challenge. And anytime you banish a character, you get to ready him with the Mrs. Incredible trigger. So when I tell you that the most I've done in one turn, I've gained 12 lore off of Wardwing in one turn. Wow. When you assemble the combo, it is very potent. But let's say we don't have the One Last Hope. You know, our opponent might not want to just give us all this value when they're staring down Wardwings and they're staring down Nick Wilds and Judy Hops. You know, they don't want you to challenge and banish all of their characters. Well, that's fine. I'll just play this Casa Madrigal that's going to force you to interact if we're in this weird stalemate. You're going to need to challenge this, or I'm just going to win the game because I'm getting 2 lore passively every single turn. And when you do, that's when you're going to get punished by the Wardwing Mrs. Incredible combo.
Very cool. That combo seems nuts.
It's so good. I love this deck so much. It draws a ton of cards. Like, it's just doing everything. It's doing everything I want to do. It's doing everything I want out of a archetypal kind of tribalist deck. Like I want to play something where keywords matter.
Yeah.
And like the detectives is like obviously I tried it with pirates,
Yeah.
way back in the day when we got the Jolly Roger. I really wanted pirates to be the thing, but detectives has definitely been that archetypal deck that I've been begging for in in Disney Lorcana. This feels like it's the deck. This is the
Yeah.
one.
Boom. Well, there you go. Definitely give it a try. I think it's super fun, and you're like you said, you're super passionate about the color combo and some of the characters in it. So I think who better than to learn from you on this? All right, we got 3 more decks to finish it off, and I think as we get near the end, I think they get better and better and better. So you mentioned Ruby and Amber, but before everybody gets mad, this is not the meta version, okay? This is a super cool turning red typal version here. Looks like a lot of songs, lots of singers. So talk to me about this build. 11 Uninkables, 15 songs, 4 actions. Is this Amber Steel of old?
This deck this is actually a new deck that I've recently brewed within the last like 2 days. Like I've literally I just recently like there's got to be something here. Like,
yeah.
and I mean, this may be rogue right now, but there is definitely a world where this can be iterated on. Like, someone is going to crack. I'm trying to crack the code. Someone's going to crack the code and break this deck, and it's going to be an insane deck. So this is like essentially take like the Steel Song shell and trade it out for Ruby instead of Steel.
Yep.
And then so like I just recently watched I watched Red for the first time.
Yeah,
like,
Turning Red is so good.
Just a couple weeks ago. Like I just saw Turning Red. I didn't know anything about it. Fantastic movie. Like I was really impressed with like how it was so much different from any other Disney movie that I think I've ever watched. Which really kind of gave it like this. So I was like, I gotta do something with it. I gotta do something with all the new red Panda cards that we're getting. Sometimes what this deck is doing feels so broken.
Yeah.
It feels so insane. So like the 3-drop Mylan Lee is arguably a better aerial spectacular singer in this deck because let's count the number of hits in this deck. So we can start with the songs. That's 15 hits right there off the bat.
Yep.
We've got another 4 with the 1-drop Mylan Lee.
Okay.
Another 4 with the 3-drop Ming Lee.
Okay.
Another 4 with the 3-drop Mylan Lee.
Jeez.
Another 4 with Sun Yi. Another 4 with the Ming Lee Red Panda.
Oh my goodness.
And then another 4 with another Mylan Lee, the 6-drop Mylan Lee.
Oh my goodness.
So more than half of the deck.
Yeah.
You're never missing.
You're never missing.
You're literally never missing. You're hitting every single time. And like the idea behind this is I wanted to do 2 different things. Number 1, all of the red Panda shifts, their like shift is pretty inexpensive. You have a 5/5 that temporary shifts for 2. And I know a lot of people think, okay, well, it bounces back to your hand. Aren't you like setting yourself at like a tempo disadvantage? Well, not really. Your opponent ends up turning something sideways. You get to turn your 0-3 into a 5/5, take a value trade into it. It heals all of the damage on it and then bounces back to your hand. So you're protecting the actual good card. You're healing all of that damage. You're getting to take this like value trade and then combo that with the fact that, okay, well, maybe my opponent didn't turn their thing sideways. I can still temporary shift for either 2 or 3, both of these red pandas to sing these like big 4, 5, and 6 cost songs much earlier on in the game than I probably should. And it gets to be a surprise thing that comes from hand.
Yeah.
It gets to be this shock value, this, oh, well, I didn't expect my opponent to, on turn 2 or on turn 3, like shift this Sun Li, sing Grab Your Bow, and like banish my Aurora and my Willow. Like I just didn't expect that to happen on turn 2. So like the ability to cheat on ink in this deck is really, really powerful. And then you combo that with like some of the draw engines. Like I said, the Mylan Lee, the 3-drop is always net drawing you an additional card. It's replacing itself. We are a song-based strategy, so the aerial ethereal voice is going to be a fantastic way to draw cards.
Yeah.
Stitch does he does all the things. He draws, He's got 4 strength, so he doesn't get got by Red Alert or Gaston or World's Greatest Criminal Mind. He's got 5 willpower, so he doesn't get got by He Hurled His Thunderbolt. Like, card just kind of like that's the stat line right there.
Yeah, for sure.
4/5 or a 4/4 with resist 1. Those are the types of stat lines that are going to be very problematic for a lot of the formulaic removal that we see in the format right now that people are playing. But this is one of the funnest strategies I've played, like, in kind of just waiting and anticipating the physical release of Attack of the Vine.
Yeah.
This deck's awesome.
It looks super fun. I think it's a super smart build as well. The one thing I do have to kind of poke at you for is, let's talk about, just very quickly, Red Moon Ritual. Okay, people hate this card.
This card's so good. It's so insane. This card's nuts. Are you kidding me? This card is literally bonkers.
People saw this card on Twitter, okay, and they were like, they hate Ruby. It's just a terrible, way worse. Be prepared. Talk to me about this card. Let's hear the case for having 3 of this card.
I might go up to 4. I might actually go up to 4. This card has been so nuts, it's not even funny. So, like, first off, this is the deck that's going to leverage this the best.
Sure.
And I do think that you could even play a little bit deeper into it if you wanted to. You could play cards like the 2-drop Alanadale or even the 2-drop Powerline if you wanted additional singing pressure. But the fact that this card is Sing Together changes the mechanic completely. Like, for face value, yeah, it's a 7 cost, but I can play this on turn 3 pretty consistently, right? I play Mylan Lee on turn 1. That counts for having up to Singer 3 for Sing Together. And then you've got Ursula. You can play Ursula on turn 2. On turn 3, that's 7 Singer right there, just between my 1-drop and my 2-drop.
Yeah.
And if you take into consideration the fact that I can also do it a couple of other different ways. I can go Mylan Lee on 1. On turn 2, let's say, like, I didn't have the Ursula. Let's say I had to play a Mowgli because I had to check my opponent's hand to make sure that, they didn't have, like, a piece of steel removal. And then on turn 3, oh, what do you know? I can now shift either one of my 5 or my 6 cost red pandas. I can do the temporary shift, sing Red Moon Ritual, banish, your one big threat like your Eleanor or something like that, and then bounce my temporary shift back to my hand to protect it against your removal. Like, when I tell you that this card is significantly better than people gave it credit for, including myself.
Yeah.
I thought this card was going to be a meme. And like I said, you can play a little bit more heavily into playing that card if you wanted to include, a couple of copies of that. I think the one I would probably include be the Alanadale. You can include up to 2 copies of the Alanadale, 2 costs, 3/2, Singer 4, Quest 1. Yeah, I would do that, and I'd go up to the 4th one because a singable Dragonfire is just good.
Yeah.
A singable Dragonfire on turn 3 is insane.
Yeah. Hey, look, fair enough. Okay. And like you said, with some of these decks, they're getting Eleanor out super early, and then you just, boom, sing that and you're good to go. And they're not usually ready to challenge into all the things you have exerted there. So fair enough. Okay. But I had to ask because I thought it was funny. All right. Let's finish strong with the runner-up best rogue deck on our list here. Not going to be rogue for too much longer, I think. We've got Emerald Steel. Okay, this green steel question mark, more like good stuff. Okay, that's what the GS stands for there.
That's what the GS stands for.
This is just a pile of great cards. Okay, these cards are so strong, and I want to hear you talk about them. But how we're justifying it rogue is, 1, it's not rogue yet, or excuse me, it's not meta yet, even though it's gonna be, and 2, we got a Tangled theme going here, okay? So that counts as rogue to me. Talk to me about this insanely overpowered deck. 13 uninkables, 12 songs, 12 actions. What are we doing here?
Well, so here's the thing. This was a fever dream that I had not even 24 hours ago. Not even 24 hours ago. So, like, after quite a beating into the proverbial best deck of the format, the Amber, Emerald, Willow, Eleanor, Princess deck. Enough was enough. I had it. I was at my wit's end, and I'm like, I need to play cards like Tinkerbell. Like, I was like, really, what I want to be doing right now is I want to play Tinkerbell Grab Your Sword.
Yeah.
So the first iteration of this, I just read, like, literally yesterday, just read what is it? To wither a flower.
Yes.
To wither a flower. I think I just read this card. So for those of you that don't know, this is a 4-cost emerald action. It is action song. It's a song. First and foremost, it's a song. It is uninkable, but it deals 2 damage to all of your opposing damaged characters.
Yeah.
So like, one of my favorite things that I've ever done in Disney Lorcana is shift a Tinkerbell and sing Grab Your Sword to like wipe my opponent's board. So the first iteration of this deck included the 3-drop 2/4 Tinkerbell that was reprinted in Fable. It was originally a set 1 card that quest for 1, and it has the ability you can exert it to draw a card and discard a card.
Yep.
But I was only playing it because I wanted to shift the Tinkerbell and then sing. And then I was like, man, you know what's better than Tinkerbell and like freer and gets around like resist and ward? Malicious, mean, and scary.
Yep.
It's like you gave me Tink Swords as a total of 7 cost worth of songs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but songs can be free.
Yeah.
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 Like I get the Tink Swords now with songs. So yeah, I had to put it in a shell, and no better shell than the Tangled shell. The 1-drop Rapunzel can be super, super aggressive. You know, it protects itself by, you know, going up in the air. You've got both the 2-drop Mother Gothel as well as the look what you've done as like your turn 2. Like, okay, I get to quest for 2, put this thing in the air, and either play a 3/3 or deal 2 damage to one of your characters. Just super strong. You've also got the Flynn Rider, because you're gonna be turning through your deck. You're gonna be playing a bunch of little things. You have to close the game out in some way or another. And Flynn Rider's like a pretty decent aggressive early drop, as well as like having the ability to battle into your opponent's characters. And yet another shift line for the Rapunzel Flynn Rider Duel Link, the team up card. We've got 7 checks for our opponent's hand. We've got the 2-drop Ursula. We've also got the Lenny, so that, you know, Steel Song, I think, is going to be, you know, another top dog contender.
Sure.
Those 2 cards are just really, really good against those types of decks. The Lenny being able to take the Raging Storms out of the big Amber control decks hands is also incredibly important. And the big thing is that Lenny has this fantastic ability where whenever you play an action, once per turn, you can ready him. So, like, there's just been times where, like, okay, cool, like, I have 2 Malicious, Mean, and Scaries in my hand. Like, I guess Lenny will sing it, and then he'll ready, and I'll sing it again.
That's
and, like,
crazy.
Just, like, build your own, Grab Your Sword, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't even mention this Merida. When you were talking about the Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and then to Wither a Flower, all of those things are also going to put Merida's ability into the bag, and it's disgusting. That's a board wipe.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
So, notably, the Merida doesn't trigger off of the Malicious, Mean, and Scary, because Malicious, Mean, and Scary places damage.
Sure.
And with the comprehensive rules update for the way that damage can occur, dealing and placing are 2 different things. If Malicious, Mean, and Scary could trigger Merida, that'd be the most busted combination of cards in the game.
Yeah.
But we do have 2 copies of Windstorm.
Yes, that is gross.
So Windstorm is just another build your own tank. The whole purpose of this deck is to say, let's start over. Let's create an infomercial for this. Amber Emerald Dogs got you down. Do you want to wipe 7 of their characters with 1 foul swoop? Then boy, do I got a deck for you. This is Emerald Steel good stuff. This is Emerald Steel wipe your board with Merida combo. This deck is I played against a Ruby Amethyst deck, and they thought that they were so cool, man. They shifted their Peter Pan Tinkerbell team up, and I was like, yeah, nah. And I had Merida in play. I was like, sick. I played Windstorm the next turn and dealt 7 to their entire board. It was just like Merida had significantly more than 3 arrows. She was shooting arrows left and right at all of my opponent's nice characters that were up in the sky. Those evasives. But yeah, this deck's super synergistic. You get to, you know, all these discard combos where you get to like discard the 3 arrows and then pick it back up with the Merida later. You get to churn through your deck with the Violet triggers as well as the Rapunzel Flynn triggers. You're just getting to discard a bunch, and when you discard, you just get to play the stuff anyways. So it's like, did you really discard?
Yeah.
This deck's super fun. It's probably not perfect yet. It's probably not the most optimal build, but there's something here.
Yeah.
There's something here, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. This is just the beginning stages of this deck.
Yeah, so a lot of people hate Emerald Steel, but if you're excited to see it come back, pick this up and quickly. I think this is one you definitely want to learn. But let's move on to the best deck. Okay, this is my claim. This is the best rogue deck on the list for week 1, made by you, good sir. Okay, and again, this is just week 1, so these decks can continue to grow and change. But bots, Omnidroids, baby, Syndrome. Okay, I have seen even just small parts of this deck at work, and it is nasty. I want to hear it from you yourself. Talk to me. 10 inkables, 10 uninkables, 12 songs, 2 actions, 4 items. What are we doing with the Omnidroids here?
Yeah, this deck is honestly, this is one of my favorite decks that's ever existed in Disney Lorcana. Like,
Yeah.
it is so sick, dude. This is like very similar to like the Ducktectives. This is another one of those build around niche archetypal decks that like I'm just happy are actually good. Like, you could have like done this type of like archetypal build around strategy and it just not been good. But man, the 8-drop droid that we got is like everything I could have ever possibly wanted. There's one thing I do want to point out. And so I've shown you a couple of different steel decks. Have you noticed one card that's been consistent across all of them, or 2 cards that have been consistent across all of them?
Okay, let's look at this. Hold on, let me flick past your other one. Okay, so
I guess not this one. Not this one.
Okay, this one. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So definitely strength always, right?
Well, yeah, that's
what am I missing?
Violet.
You're right.
Violet. So I'll tell you right now, every single steel deck I play right now starts with 4 of the 2-cost Violet and 4 of the 5-cost Violet.
Yeah.
Like, it does everything. In the green steel deck, it gets to discard the cards so that you can trigger your discard cards, the cards that you want to discard so that you can play them. In this deck, it gets to draw a card, discard a bot, and then Syndrome just gets to pick that bot back up and play it for free. The synergies. Yeah, this deck is so cool.
Yeah.
So like, one of the the best thing that you can do is Omnidroid on turn 1, and it doesn't matter if you're on the play, you're on the draw. You Omnidroid on turn 1. On turn 2, you get to shift the 4-drop Omnidroid. So like, let's say you're on the draw, right? Let's say your opponent goes turn 1 Pluto or something like that. Like, who knows? They go turn 1 Pluto. You're like, all right, cool. You go turn 1 Omnidroid. So, okay, you pass back to them. They go turn 2 Willow Aurora. Let's say that they don't turn the Pluto sideways. They don't put another body on the board because they don't want you to answer, everything.
Sure.
Okay, no problem. On turn 2, I can now ink, shift the Omnidroid 4, and deal 2 damage to your Willow. And now I have a 4-cost Singer in play.
Yep.
So I can do a couple different things with that. I can either sing a He Hurled His Thunderbolt to remove another character from your side of the board.
Yep.
Or I can sing Colors of the Wind. Now, I know this card cost 4, but I want you to do your best to imagine that in 88% of times, this card is literally just friends on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I get to like remove your Willow plus draw 2 cards on turn 2. It's such a massive tempo swing, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
And like, let's say you still end up playing the Eleanor the turn after that. Like, maybe you turn the Pluto sideways so that you can get the Eleanor in play. Okay, well, I still just have this 4-drop that's been in play since turn 2. Now I can sing the He Hurled His Thunderbolt and take out the Eleanor. The whole purpose for this deck was to beat green yellow. That's the whole purpose of the deck. When I tell you that I have a 100% win rate into green yellow,
wow.
I'm 19-0 into green yellow. I built this deck to beat green yellow.
Wow.
That's like, not only is the deck just really good and really strong, like, it just does really good into like the one deck that I'm really trying to target.
Yeah.
This is super fun. You've got, a ton of ways to deal damage. You got Strength of Raging Fire, you got Hero to Thunderbolt, you've got the Angel, can, deal 2 damage. She also gets resist when you don't have any cards in your hand. Between Angel and Violet, you get to draw, discard, put the bots in the bin. Syndrome gets to bring them back. Like, this deck is just doing everything I want to do in a archetypal deck, and drawing a bunch of cards along the way and playing a bunch of big scary monsters. That's what I enjoy doing. I want to play big 8/8s and 6/6s with resist 2.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding. I played against this deck, and it, like, the amount of Omnidroids that were just out on the table before I could even realize what was happening. Like, it really does have such an incredible, pun intended, snowball effect. And I think it's like something where people aren't really too threatened by the Omnidroids, but then once you see this deck start going, you're like, oh, it's gonna be fine, whatever, I'll just take care of it. And then there's another one, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, and it's like, how many Gastons can you have? And also, like, some of them aren't even in range of Gaston, so it's like, it's just this super awesome build. It's super fun to see, like, Syndrome and his Omnidroids all work together, like you said. And I think, like, regardless of if this is even doing the singular most powerful thing out of anything on this list, what makes it the number one for me is how fun it is, how good it is, and how, like, strong, like you said, typally it is. Like, there are so many incredible like the Incredibles characters in here, and it just works. It just works. So I think this deck is going to be one to watch for sure. But all of these decks, I think, really have legs. You, like you said, have 400 games in this format. It's just awesome to see. So I want to thank you for coming on to share all of these decks with us. This has been super awesome having you on. I think you nailed it. Any shout outs you want to give? Anything else you want to say about your deck building process? And let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at R_M_BX, because it's X, it's not Twitter. You can find me on the creator page of Dreamborn. That's where I post a lot of I post a lot of wacky stuff. If you usually are looking for either something that's hyper competitive to take to your next CCQ, or take to a DLC, or take to any type of big event, I've usually got some very, very competitive decks on there. Or if you want to just have fun at your local league and you want to bring like a family Madrigal deck, like, there's a chance, like, I probably got some. I've got deck lists for every type of Illuminator out there. You can play the game however you want to. I'm a big advocate for that, and I'm gonna try to cater to all the various audiences. Obviously, I want to say a shout out to Maelstrom, my team. Absolutely love these guys. We've been together now for almost 2.5 years, and I can definitely say that Disney Lorcana has made, like, an absolutely monumental impact on my life. It's changed financial aspects of my life. It's changed my friend groups. It's allowed me to meet some of the most incredible people that I've ever met in my entire life. So incredibly thankful for them. Obviously, want to say a shout out to RMB. Without her, like, none of this is possible, because I'd be, like, super, like, unhappy. Like, just shout out to the Disney Lorcana community. I've been playing TCGs now for almost 25 years. I've been a part of a lot of different communities, and I can say without a doubt, hands down, by far, Disney Lorcana has the best community, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, man. Like you said, I think what's great about you, particularly for the community, is, like, yes, you're gonna have those fun builds, and you're also gonna have those competitive builds. The good thing about it is these, like, quote unquote fun builds that you make actually are good, because you actually test them and make them in a way that, like, you put care and time into them. You're not just making a rogue build for the sake of calling it rogue,
No, I want to build a deck to do the thing, and I'm gonna make it do the thing. Like, I'm gonna build it if it's doing a thing, I'm gonna make it do that thing better than as good as it can.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, like, these lists speak to it. So thank you so much again, RMB, coming on, giving us the insane list. That's gonna be it from us. But if you like what RMB has to say, if you want to hear him come back on the channel, let us know in the comments below. Maybe we'll have him talk about some meta staples. But really, this was a blast. Thank you so much to our channel members. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, go follow RMB on all of the things, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.